Discover the incredible truth. Sister's wedding list reveals Dad's hidden will and life-changing secrets. Sarah's heart raced as she stumbled upon a crumpled piece of paper wedged between forgotten family mementos. The faded ink seemed to shimmer with some sort of mystery, and she just knew it could change everything. A wedding guest list prepared by her father, a man whose presence had been reduced to memories since the tragic day. Each name danced in front of her like ghosts clamoring for acknowledgement. A wave of adrenaline rushed through her. Could this list hold the key to a hidden fortune, a way out of the struggles that bound her family in financial chains? She leaned against the kitchen table, breath catching in her throat. Thoughts of helping her sister, Melissa, prepare for the upcoming wedding consumed her thoughts. The echoes of laughter and chatter from the diner she worked at filled the air, yet they felt distant. Inside the small cafe, familiar faces brought warmth and routine, but once she stepped back into the world of wedding preparations and bittersweet memories, everything shifted. The aroma of the roast chicken her mother was making wafted through the house, a stark reminder of their daily hardships. Yet, amid these suffocating memories, hope sparkled like sunlight on water. As Sarah scanned the names, people they had never discussed, her breath caught. Some were old friends of their father's, veterans whom she'd only vaguely heard about. What did her dad have to do with them? A sense of unease crept in. This hidden side of him stirred something deep within her. How could he have kept this from them? Just as her heart sank, her thoughts spiraled into conflict. It didn't feel fair. Here they were, scraping by while hidden treasures lay just outside of their reach. In her heart, she grappled with resentment. Why had he chosen to shield them from this? And Melissa? How would she react to the truth? Tension bubbled between them, shaping into something thick and suffocating as they prepared for the wedding, a day that should be emanated joy. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the days leading up to the wedding, Sarah's unease morphed into something darker. Feelings of unworthiness gnawed at her. She wanted to reach out to her sister, the glue holding them together. Yet, the gap widened, coated in unanswered questions that lingered between them like an uninvited guest. Did she harbor a secret jealousy? Did Melissa deserve a fairy tale wedding, while she clung to thoughts of a family legacy that might tear them apart? As guests filled the small church, the flickering candles mirrored the fiery uncertainty in Sarah's chest. Would her discovery bring them closer or tear them apart? The wedding march played, and she clutched that crumpled list like a lifeline. The weight felt unbearable as her sister walked down the aisle, so radiant yet oblivious to the chaos brewing behind the scenes. In Sarah's heart, one question echoed: could their family bond withstand the truth, or would the shadows of their father's past ignite a rift they couldn't mend? The moment felt like a tightrope walk suspended over an abyss, and she hesitated. With tears grating at the edges of her vision, she took a deep breath, ready to confront the reality ahead. Would love triumph over the weight of their past? Or would they drift apart, adrift in a sea of uncertainty? The church was alive with whispers. Guests found their seats, exchanging glances at the bride's stunning gown, unaware of the storm brewing behind the closed doors. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she traced her fingers over the edges of the paper, the words blurring in and out of focus. Melissa was nearly there, her face glowing under the soft glow of candles. Yet, it felt as though Sarah was sinking deeper into shadows, far from the lovely vision her sister embodied. In that moment, with the music swelling around her, she couldn't shake the feeling that she stood at a threshold. The crumpled list pressed heavily in her pocket, a reminder of buried secrets and tangled emotions. What if they find out? What if I ruin everything? The question spun like a whirlwind, dragging her further down. She glanced around, taking in the smiling faces, the joyful anticipation. Did they need to know what lurked behind the facade of their family? Or was it better to maintain the delicate peace, even if that meant living in a lie? The wedding coordinator nudged Sarah, pulling her back to reality. It's almost time, she said with a reassuring smile. Just breathe. You're part of this. You've got this, girl. Sarah forced a nod, but inside, her heart pounded in protest. The thought of her father's choices, the years of silence, felt like a chasm, a separating force between her and Melissa. Could she really stand by as her sister exchanged vows, knowing that the truth could alter everything? As the music shifted, blending into a melodic cadence, the heavy double doors swung open, and all eyes turned towards the entrance. Melissa entered in slow motion, a fairy tale moment made real. But behind that veil of beauty, Sarah saw fragments of their past. Memories of laughter, tears, and the shadows of conversations left unuttered pierced through her. Melissa smiled, radiant, yet Sarah could see a flicker of nerves in her sister's eyes. The moment connected them in a way they hadn't truly acknowledged before, their paths intertwined by shared experiences and unspoken words. Suddenly, the crumpled list felt like more than a secret, it echoed their father's spirit, yearning to connect across time and choices. As the wedding ceremony commenced, the officiant guided them through loving verses. Yet, a mounting pressure gripped Sarah. She needed to decide, would she reveal the truth after the ceremony, or was it better left buried? With each vow exchanged, her resolve solidified. She looked into Melissa's eyes, searching for understanding. But it was an empty gaze that responded a sweet naivety untouched by the weight of their father's past. The last, "I do," echoed, and joy filled the room like sunlight breaking through clouds. But for Sarah, it was a bittersweet melody. Would she dare disrupt this harmony? As the applause erupted, she stepped closer to her sister, yearning to bridge the gap, yet terrified of the chasm that lay between them. With a trembling voice, she whispered, "Melissa, can we talk?" But a flood of laughter and cheer erupted around them, drowning out her words, her heart echoing with dread. What would her sister think if she revealed the truth? Was the bond of family strong enough to withstand the tempest of their father's hidden world? And just as Melissa turned to her, a shiver ran through the air, as if the universe itself anticipated the revelation. Would this wedding be the end of one story, or the ignition of another? As the final moments of the ceremony unfolded, Sarah stood on the brink of a decision that could change everything. As the echoes of applause settled into an ambient hum, Sarah's heart raced like a runaway train. The weight of her secret felt heavier than ever, and the smile on Melissa's face only deepened the pit in her stomach. Her sister twirled in her ivory dress, a picture of happiness, unaware of the storm brewing in Sarah's heart. "Just a moment, please." Sarah tried again, her voice barely piercing the laughter swirling around them. Melissa turned, her brow wrinkled just slightly, a testament to the joy and confusion mingling in the air. "But everyone is waiting for the reception." "What is it, Sarah?" The urgency in Melissa's voice pulled at the strands of Sarah's resolve. They exchanged glances, a silent conversation filled with longing and need. Sarah's mind raced through conversations of their past, countless family dinners with laughter echoing beneath the surface tension. Nothing tangible ever said. Only feelings, whispers of discontent and the unseen shadows of their father's choices. "Can we just step outside?" Sarah suggested, the words tumbling out, wishing for an escape from the clamor. With a slight nod, Melissa led them away from the gathering, into the calmness of the church courtyard. The evening air held a hint of warmth but felt charged, as if it too eagerly awaited an unveiling. "What's going on?" Melissa asked, her excitement dimming under the strain of uncertainty. Taking a shaky breath, Sarah fished the scribbled list from her pocket. The ink blurred slightly, it mirrored the jumble of thoughts in her mind. "I need to show you something." Melissa frowned at the damp paper Sarah unfolded. The details were raw, everything they had buried beneath layers of polite smiles and family gatherings. This is about Dad?" "Yes," Sarah answered, swallowing hard. "It's a mess, but I think it explains a lot. About him. About us." Where there had been excitement now swirled confusion and concern. Melissa's hands shook slightly as she took the list, her eyes darting across the words. What does this mean?" "It means, there were things he never told us," Sarah said softly. "Things that could shift this very moment into something so much more complicated. Our family, it wasn't as it seemed." As Sarah spoke, memories flooded back. The laughter at the dinner table that had abruptly turned to silence whenever he walked in. The secrets hidden behind closed doors. An unease settled heavily in her chest, the flicker of recognition washed over Melissa's face, a realization sinking in. You think the wedding is wrong? No. I just what's in here isn't just about him. It's about you. About us, Sarah pleaded, her voice trembling. Melissa clasped the list tightly, her face shifting from confusion to anguish. Why didn't you say anything before? I didn't know how. I didn't want to ruin what you had today. I thought maybe we could keep pretending. The words felt like a confession, heavy and liberating at once. As silence enveloped them, a tension hummed in the air. It felt as if they were standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down into the unknown. Sarah, I can't believe you kept this from me. Melissa's voice wavered, the hurt evident in her tone. But I need to know. What is it? Everything she has ever believed may not be true, Sarah whispered, the enormity of the truth grasping her like a vice. It might just change everything. Before Melissa could respond, the sound of clinking glasses and a jubilant toast broke through the stillness. Laughter bubbled back inside the church. Heart racing, Sarah realized she had set the stage for a confrontation that neither could predict. As she looked into her sister's eyes, she saw a decision being made, one that not only affected them but the very foundation of their family. Melissa, what if telling the truth might be the key to finally healing us? The question lingered in the air, heavy with the promise of change. Would Melissa take the leap with her, or would she retreat back into the embrace of perfect illusion? In that moment, their eyes locked, and Sarah felt the grip of fear loosen just slightly. The reality was dawning as the serious undertones of their family history began to unravel. The question hung in the air: what were they willing to sacrifice for the truth? Melissa's breath hitched in her throat as she processed Sarah's words. The world around them faded, the laughter from the reception dulling to a distant hum. She stared down at the list, the words swimming in front of her eyes like ghosts from an unwritten past. Are you saying he lied to us? I don't know if he outright lied, Sarah replied, her voice quaking. But he certainly didn't tell us everything. If we don't confront this, it's like we're still standing in the dark. Melissa's grip on the list tightened, her knuckles white. But why now? Why during my wedding day, Sarah? The hurt in her voice cut through the tension, sharper than any knife. I thought everything was fine, Sarah admitted, anguish flooding her heart. But when I found this list, I realized the truth can't just be swept under the rug anymore. Not if we want to really be a family. Melissa's eyes flashed with frustration. You had the chance to tell me before today. I had one day to be happy and pretend everything was fine. I was scared, okay? Scared of how you would react, scared of losing you, Sarah cried out, her voice rising. The silence that followed seemed to stretch on forever, wrapping around them like a thick fog. Finally, Melissa spoke, her voice quieter but laced with an intensity that sent shivers through Sarah. So, what do we do now? Just drop this bombshell into my wedding reception? Turn joy into chaos? The thought rattled through Sarah's mind, an alarming image of Melissa standing before their family, clutching the wedding dress while chaos erupted. No. I just think we need to talk. We need to decide together what we want the truth to mean for us. Melissa sighed deeply, her shoulders slumping as uncertainty washed over her. For a moment, it felt like the world had disintegrated around them, the wedding, the laughter, all replaced by a chasm of unknowns. What if we find out something that changes everything? About Dad, about us, Melissa whispered, her eyes glistening. What if that truth rips our family apart? It might, Sarah said, tears welling up in her own eyes. But living a lie, pretending everything is perfect, that will definitely tear us apart eventually. Even if we uncover something so painful, we must face it together, or we'll lose the only family we have. Melissa took a step back, as if the weight of the conversation pressed against her chest. So, what? We tell Mom? We talk to him? No, not him. The hint of desperation spilled into Sarah's tone. He won't be truthful. He'll twist things. We've seen how he operates. It needs to start with us. First, we need to talk to each other, be strong in the knowledge that whatever comes next, it's shared. Melissa looked up, searching Sarah's face, weighing the agony of secrets with the possibility of freedom. And if I don't want to know? What if I want to keep pretending? Then we just go back inside? Sarah asked gently, her voice almost a whisper. The wind picked up slightly, rustling leaves in an almost impatient rhythm. Time felt suspended, and with every passing moment, so did the weight of decision. Melissa started, her voice faltering. I just got married. She seemed fragile, as if one more word could shatter her resolve. I know. But some truths have a way of revealing themselves, with or without us. We have a choice to take control now, before it takes control of us. More laughter bubbled from inside, joy mingling with their turmoil, and for a moment, both sisters stood locked in their own silence, two hearts battling between fear and hope. Finally, Melissa sighed, glancing back towards the warm light spilling from the church doors, a life full of joy just waiting for her. Okay, let us talk. But I need to think about how to do this. It's going to change everything. A lump formed in Sarah's throat, both at the promise of honesty and the uncertainty of what would come next. I'm here, no matter what you decide. But we need to be ready. They turned towards the church, each step echoing with the weight of shared burdens and whispered questions, their hearts fluttering with possibilities and a yearning for truth. As they reached the doors, Sarah paused. No matter what happens, no more pretending, right? Right, Melissa breathed, her expression resolute yet vulnerable. With that unspoken agreement hanging in the air, something shifted. They were no longer just daughters or sisters but allies in the face of uncertain shadows, a bond forged in the fire of impending revelation. Yet, one question lingered in the back of Sarah's mind. During this battle to uncover the truth, what other secrets might emerge from the shadows, forever changing their lives? Melissa's heart pounded as they stepped inside the church, the warm glow of the reception washing over them like a tide. Laughter echoed from the main hall, a sound that felt both like a celebration and a chain anchoring her to the past. Every smile and cheerful cheer sent jolts of guilt coursing through her. She wanted to join the fun, but that list hung between them like a heavy fog. Sarah's presence was a grounding force, yet it also reminded Melissa of the storm building just beneath the surface of their lives. I never thought this day would come with so much weight, she murmured, her eyes flicking nervously toward their family mingling in the distance. We have to find a private place, Sarah urged, scanning the room. Somewhere we can talk, just the two of us. Nodding, Melissa led them away from the revelry, seeking a quiet corner behind a set of ornate double doors leading to a forgotten garden. The air was sweet with the scent of blooming flowers, but tension draped over them like a shroud. Okay, Melissa said, taking a deep breath to calm her racing heart. Let us just say we do talk. How do we start? Sarah took a moment, her brow furrowed with sadness. We start with the truth. Like you said, it could change everything. But if we don't figure it out now, it may haunt us forever. Melissa swallowed hard, feeling the bile of fear rise. What if we can't handle what we find? What if it's too much? Then we lean on each other. We've always been each other's rocks, Sarah reminded her, reaching out to squeeze her sister's hand. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Remember how we promised to always protect each other? Yeah, but this feels different. Melissa's voice dropped, the gravity of their situation pressing down on her like a physical weight. You're right. It is different, Sarah said, her voice softening. But those moments of pain can bring clarity. It could be the key to moving forward, to understanding Dad and knowing who we really are. The morning sun bathed the garden in a golden hue, creating an illusion of warmth that contradicted their chilly conversation. The birds chirped innocently, oblivious to the turmoil roiling in the sisters' hearts. What if he did something unforgivable? Melissa fretted, twisting a lock of hair between her fingers. What if everything is a lie? Then we need to confront him, but only after we know the whole story. Sarah's eyes gleamed with determination. What on that list could change everything? In that moment, a sudden noise jerked them from their thoughts. A faint rustle drew their attention to an open window where they caught a glimpse of their mother, animatedly chatting with relatives, her laughter ringing like music. "She seems so happy," Melissa whispered, a mixture of sadness and envy washing over her. "What's her reaction going to be when we tell her?" Sarah lowered her gaze, contemplating. "It may break her. But it's better than leaving her in the dark just like we were left." The sinking feeling in Melissa's chest deepened. A truth revealed could burn away the last threads of the fabricated happiness they'd worn like a mask. They were one step closer to unraveling their shared reality, yet with every beat of her heart, the uncertainty grew heavier. A gust of wind swept through the garden, and for a moment, it felt liberating, as if change was in the air. "Whatever happens, we can't run from the truth. It's who we are," Melissa said quietly, steeling herself. "Then let us face it together, starting now," Sarah affirmed. She pulled out the list, its edges crinkled from their earlier handling. "Are you ready?" The answer brewed in Melissa's chest, a turbulent mix of dread and hope. If they stepped into the light, there would be no turning back. "Wait," she suddenly said, hesitating before reaching for the list. "What if it reveals things that could hurt us more than help?" "I don't know," Sarah admitted, uncertainty creeping into her voice. "But if we hold on to this fear, it's already hurting us, don't you see?" Melissa took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. She stared at her sister, swallowing back tears. "Can we really handle whatever is next?" As they exchanged resolute glances, a spark ignited between them. They would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. But just as Sarah was about to respond, the church bells rang out, a jubilant reminder of the wedding celebration still in full swing, teasing them with what lay ahead, and in that ringing, a new thought struck Melissa. What if the truth meant more than just family secrets? What if it unlocked an entirely different path? Could love withstand this reckoning? "Sarah," she said softly, "what if we find ourselves and it pulls us apart?" With every ounce of courage in her soul, Melissa felt an answer form on the tip of her tongue, but then, the bells tolled again, casting a spell over their decision. "Are you ready?" The question hung in the air, waiting for the answer that could change everything. The air felt thick with anticipation as Sarah's gaze held Melissa's, daring her to speak. Melissa could feel her heart racing, every pulse a reminder of the stakes involved. She glanced back toward the bustling celebration, the sounds of joy ringing hollow in her ears. A part of her longed to abandon this dangerous path and rejoin her family, to forget the weight of the list that could destroy everything, but another part, a deeper, almost primal instinct, knew they were at a crossroads. She took a deep breath and finally nodded. "Okay. Let us do this." Sarah's hand tightened around the list, the crinkles cradling promises and perils. She unfolded it slowly, revealing a few hastily scrawled words. As she began to read, each syllable felt like a stone dropped into a still pond, rippling outward to disturb everything they thought they knew. "It says find the truth before the wedding." Sarah looked up, her eyes wide. "It's addressing us. It feels personal, like we were supposed to uncover something." Melissa swallowed hard as dread washed over her. Is this about Dad? Or is it something more? What if it's about both? Sarah whispered, each word heavy with possibility. What if our family isn't what we think? They stood in silence, the weight of the world resting on their shoulders. Melissa could almost hear her heart thumping in rhythm with the lingering echoes of the bells ringing from within the church. It felt as if the universe held its breath, waiting. "I guess we start with what we know," Melissa said hurriedly, wanting to anchor herself in something tangible. "What did we hear growing up? Any whispers, any secrets?" The memories flickered like shadows in her mind, distant and unfocused. "I remember hints, strange comments," Sarah replied, searching her mind. "Something about our parents' marriage not being perfect. I always brushed it off, thought they were just in a rough patch." "Exactly," Melissa exclaimed. "But what if it was more? What if he had kept something big from us?" Sarah nodded slowly, her determination returning. "Then we need to find out how deep this goes. Whatever is in here could be the key. It could change not just how we see him, but how we see each other. With shattered confidence, Melissa asked, but how do we even start? The list is so vague, let us take it one step at a time. Sarah's voice rang with newfound clarity. We can begin by talking to Mom. We have to know if she has seen this before or even knows anything. Melissa recoiled at the thought. You want us to confront her? Right now? The very idea of dragging their mother into this turmoil felt like setting off a bomb. We might not have another chance to ask, Sarah persisted. Before the wedding festivities sweep her away, before she's wrapped up in everyone else's joy. If we're ever going to stand together as a family, we have to start with honesty. The determination in her sister's voice was infectious, igniting a spark within Melissa. She hadn't realized how much she craved clarity until now. They could no longer float in this fog of doubt. Okay, she replied, her voice steadier. But we have to approach her gently. She seems happy, and I don't want to ruin that. We don't know what the truth will reveal or how she will react. Sarah took a breath and folded the list carefully. Then we prepare ourselves for whatever comes next. We can do this, Melissa. Together. With hands steadying upon each other's shoulders, they turned back toward the church where laughter and joy continued unabated, blissfully unaware of the chaos lurking beneath their family's surface. Melissa felt a twitch of fear, but it was immediately drowned by the rising tide of hope. They were ready to face their deepest fears, starting with their mother. Just as they began to walk back toward the celebration, a sudden shadow fell over them. An unfamiliar voice called out from behind. What are you two up to back here? Both sisters froze, exchanging glances, anxiety creeping back in. The world had changed for them, and now they could only wonder how much more would the truth unravel before they found their answers. Hey, are you two all right? The voice belonged to Mark, their older brother, his brow furrowed with concern. He stepped closer, casting a glance between them that suggested he could sense their unease. Melissa swallowed hard, the words dying on her tongue. She could feel the heaviness of the list between Sarah and her, a bridge between their secrets and the potential fallout. Yeah, just catching our breath, she finally managed to say, her voice shaky. Mark raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. You know, hiding out back here during a family wedding isn't exactly a fun idea. What gives? Sarah exchanged a look with Melissa. This was not how they envisioned sharing this moment. They wanted it to be just the two of them. But Mark had always been observant, he would catch even the slightest hint of their turmoil. Nothing, really, Sarah said, trying to keep her tone light. Just wanted to talk about, those speeches. Everyone has their story, and I guess we need to figure out ours. Mark shrugged, but he looked more skeptical than relaxed. Okay, but I've seen that face too many times. He glanced back at the church, the laughter inside becoming louder, more vibrant. Whatever it is, it won't help to keep it to yourselves. You're both part of this family. Melissa felt a jolt of frustration. Did he really think it was that simple? She wanted to scream that everything felt different now, that they were standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into an abyss. But the words caught in her throat. What do you know about Dad's past? Sarah blurted out, the urgency pushing through her filter of caution. Mark hesitated, his expression shifting between surprise and contemplation. Dad's past? It's complicated. Why? Did something come up? It's just Melissa felt the gravity of their prospective revelation looming over them like dark clouds, heavy with storms yet to break. We found this list. It says we need to find the truth before the wedding, and we think it's about him. About things he might not have told us. Confusion crossed Mark's face, but it quickly morphed into a more serious demeanor. He met their eyes, gauging their sincerity. What if it's something that could hurt Mom? Or change how we see everything? He replied carefully, and Melissa's stomach churned. We can't keep pretending, Mark. We can't ignore things that might matter. What if we're missing something crucial? A long silence stretched between them, filled with swirling thoughts, hiding their fear beneath a cautious exterior. The celebration wouldn't stop, and the laughter behind them carried a stark contrast to the anxiety tightening their chests. "I'll help," Mark finally offered, the corner of his mouth rising slightly. "But we need to approach this right. When do you want to talk to Mom? And how do we do it without stirring the pot too much?" A sense of relief washed over Melissa, surprising her. They weren't alone in this after all. "Maybe after the ceremony, before the reception? We can keep it brief, just enough to gauge how she feels." "Agreed. We can ask her about Dad, maybe even mention the list gently," Sarah added. The gravity of their plan settled in. They were no longer just sisters on a quest for answers, they had become a trio armed with a mission. The tension between them relaxed a little, yet the uncertainty loomed large. As they turned back toward the church, the sunlight spilled over the gathering crowd bright and joyous. But for Melissa, each step felt like a balancing act. The laughter and music grew louder, yet it was a hypnotic reminder that they were walking a tightrope hanging over their family's future. Just then, they caught sight of their mother at the church's entrance. A wave of warmth spread across her features as she greeted guests. Melissa felt her heart racing again. What if this moment shattered her mother's happiness? But there was no turning back now. They had to uncover the truth, no matter the cost, and as they moved closer, Mark whispered, "Whatever happens, remember, we're all in this together." As they prepared to step into the swirl of celebration, an unsettling thought gripped Melissa. How much could one conversation change everything? Would they emerge from this unveiling as a stronger family, or would it tear them apart? The wedding bells chimed through the air, mingling with her racing heartbeat. What truths lay hidden beneath the layers of joy? And when would they finally face the storm? The soft echo of the wedding bells faded into Melissa's thoughts, a stark reminder of the celebration as they approached the entrance. Her mother's radiant smile stood in sharp contrast to the storm brewing inside her heart. What was meant to be a joyful day now felt like a fragile facade, and the question loomed, were they ready to tear it apart? "Stay close," Mark murmured, grasping his sister's arms as they entered. The church was alive with laughter, the clink of glasses, and chatter buzzing around them. Yet Melissa felt a dissonance, like a muted note in a symphony. They were stepping into a reality painted in bright colors, but beneath the surface, shadows danced. As they found a place in the pews, Melissa's gaze was drawn to her mother. She was speaking with a family friend, her laughter warm and inviting. For a fleeting moment, Melissa wanted nothing more than to join that world of joy, to forget the burden they carried. But the list weighed down her pocket, a reminder of the truths they were about to confront. Mark leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "After the ceremony, we'll find a quiet spot. Just the three of us." "What if she doesn't take it well?" Sarah asked, worry etched on her face. "Then we deal with it," he replied, his tone firm. "We can't hide forever." Melissa nodded, though her heart trembled at the thought. They weren't just about to disrupt a peaceful moment, they might unravel a narrative woven into the very fabric of their lives. But as Mark took a deep breath, she felt a sense of solidarity. Together, they'd face whatever lay ahead. The ceremony began, and with each moment, Melissa felt herself slipping into the ceremony's rhythm. The vows exchanged were beautiful, full of promises and sincerity. Yet with every word, a part of her was transported to the reality waiting on the other side of the veil. Tears glistened in her mother's eyes as she watched her sister, her joy radiant and almost blinding. But when their eyes met, Melissa saw something deeper, a spark of worry hidden beneath the surface, as if she too sensed an impending shift. As the couple shared their first kiss, the crowd erupted into applause. Melissa remained seated, her heart aching for the knowing glance her mother gave her in that moment. Was she aware of the storm looming on the horizon? When the ceremony concluded, guests began to disperse for photographs, bright laughter ringing in the air. The lively atmosphere felt suffocating to Melissa, and she aimed for the exit, her breath coming in quick bursts. "Wait," Mark called after her, but she was already outside. The cool breeze brushed against her face, a welcome relief from the heat of the church. "Let us find a spot," she said, her voice steady now. "Before she gets swept away into the crowd." They walked a short distance from the celebration, finding a secluded corner by an oak tree, the leaves rustling softly. Now what? Sarah asked, her eyes darting nervously to the entrance. Now we just breathe, Mark said, placing a hand on her shoulder. It'll be all right. We're ready for this. Melissa's stomach churned as her mother's figure drifted toward them. She wore a smile, but it faltered as she caught sight of their serious expressions. Hey, everything okay? Her mother asked, concern knitting her brow. Melissa exchanged a glance with Mark and Sarah. There was no going back now. Mom, we need to talk to you about something important, about Dad. At the mention of their father, her mother's smile faded completely, replaced by an anxious expression that sent Melissa's heart racing. What is it? She asked, her voice betraying an undercurrent of fear. Melissa took a deep breath, her heart pounding against her ribs. How would her mother react? Nothing felt certain anymore. It's about Dad's past and this list we found. As her mother's eyes widened, a suffocating silence engulfed them. The truth was finally clawing its way to the surface. What revelations awaited them, and would they have the strength to face them together? Melissa's voice hung in the air, heavy with everything left unsaid. Her mother's eyes wide, searching, terrified were locked onto Melissa, as if she were searching for reassurance in her daughter's face. Mark shifted nervously, his grip tightening on Sarah's shoulder, while Sarah's stare darted back to their mother, awaiting a response that felt monumental. Your father's past? Her mother echoed, the quiver in her voice tethered tight by disbelief. What do you mean? Melissa felt the weight of her words pressing down on her. This was no longer just about their father, but about all the hidden layers of their family. We found a list of things that don't make sense. Things about before we were born, Mom. Melissa glanced at Mark, who was steady but resolute. She took a breath and kept going. There are names and places, things Dad never talked about. Why didn't he ever tell us? Melissa, your father didn't want to, but I think we should go home and talk about this together. Maybe it was not what you think, her mother urged, but Melissa caught the tightening of her lips, the way worry started to carve deeper lines into her mother's face. Mom, this isn't a random list. It's a record of something secret. Every word felt like a pebble dropped into a still pond, the ripples growing wider with each passing moment. Their mother took a step back, blinking away the emotion pooling in her eyes. I don't want to speak about this here. Today is supposed to be a joyful day. Sarah stepped forward, biting her lip. But it's because of the joy that we need to know the truth. We can't keep pretending everything is perfect when it might not be. A flicker of something passed over their mother's face, fear, regret, and maybe a trace of guilt. You don't understand, she said, her voice cracking. It's complicated. Complicated? Melissa echoed, feeling frustration rise like bile in her throat. Complicated has been the norm for us for a long time. You've kept so much from us. We deserve to know who he really is, who we are. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves above them, creating a natural crescendo to the tension swirling around their small group. The laughter and joy from the wedding felt like a distant echo, fading further away as the weight of their family's truth loomed before them. After what felt like an eternity, her mother took a shallow breath. All right, let us find somewhere more private. Her voice carried an unusual weariness, as if even the idea was burdensome. Mark stepped forward, framing the moment delicately. Let us go home. We can face it together. Whatever it is. Melissa finally felt a crack of hope, faint but real. Her mother nodded slowly and turned to lead the way, her back straight but her shoulders bearing a heavy load. As they walked away from the wedding, Melissa felt a mix of anticipation and dread, her heart racing with the unknown. The truth was finally within reach, but would it heal or shatter the fragile bonds they held? What lay hidden was still a mystery. And as they approached the car, a question nagged at the edges of her mind. What exactly had their father done to shroud their family in silence? The moment was only the beginning, the real story was about to unfold. As they settled into the car, a heavy silence enveloped them like a thick fog. A fragile tension hung in the air, thick with uncertainty and unspoken fears. Melissa glanced at her mother, who sat staring out of the window, her expression an unreadable mask. Mark drove with purpose, his knuckles white against the steering wheel, while Sarah shifted nervously in her seat, her heart pounding like a drum echoing their collective anxiety. "Mom," Melissa said softly, breaking the stillness. "You can tell us. Whatever it is, we'll handle it together." Her mother's shoulders slumped slightly at the words, and she took a deep, shakily breath, as though preparing to dive into the depths of a dark abyss. "There are things about your father, things he thought were best left unspoken. Did he think those choices would protect us?" Mark interjected, his voice surprisingly steady. "Or did he just want to guard himself?" Silence hung, hovering in the air like a thick cloud before a storm. Finally, their mother turned to look at them, a hint of fear dancing in her eyes. "He wanted to protect you," she said, her voice quavering. "He had a past, a life before you girls were born. It was full of mistakes, and it haunted him." Melissa felt her heart race. What kind of mistakes? What did he do? Her mother paused, the weight of the memories pressing down on her. "He was involved with people he shouldn't have been, made decisions that put him and our family in danger." Her voice was barely a whisper, weighted with regret. "But he changed. He wanted to build a new life for all of us." "What kind of people?" Melissa pressed, her curiosity shimmering with a mix of dread and hope. "I can't go into details, it isn't just about him. It's about all of us and how far he had to travel to escape his past," her mother said, tears pooling in her eyes. "But every decision he made was out of love for you." "Love?" Mark asked incredulously, disbelief plastered across his face. "Then why lie?" "Because," she said fiercely, "he was terrified. Terrified that his past would taint what he built with us. He thought it was better to keep secrets than to let the past seep in and destroy what we had." The weight of their mother's words fell around them, heavy and suffocating. Melissa felt the walls of her reality shaking as she processed what her mother was revealing. "But those secrets, they're what kept us in the dark. They're why we felt things were off. We needed to know our dad, not the polished version." "And what about Mom?" Sarah chimed in. "Did you know everything he was hiding?" Their mother's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I didn't know everything. I was oblivious to some of it until he brought me into his world. But I saw the way he changed for you. He wasn't the same man who cut ties to leave his past behind, he sought redemption." Tension thickened in the air, but Melissa could feel her heart beginning to loosen. "So, this list, it might hold clues to what he truly wanted us to know?" "Yes," her mother replied, the weight of comprehension dawning. "He wasn't perfect, but he fought to make things right." The realization that her father wasn't the villain she had painted him to be shifted something deep within Melissa. There were layers to his story still waiting to be uncovered, and perhaps, within those shadows, was a map leading them toward understanding, a bridge to connection rather than division. Melissa turned to Sarah and Mark, her voice firm yet soft. "We need to share this with each other. To recognize the humanity in both our father and ourselves. The mistakes don't erase the love he had for us." Mark nodded, a hint of determination lighting up his features. "Agreed. And Mom, now we need to face the rest of the family. We can't turn back." As they arrived home, the weight of their conversation swirled uneasily within the confines of the car. Melissa looked at her mother, then her brother and sister, and felt a rush of warmth and love swell in her chest despite the uncertainty. Together, she whispered, echoing Mark's earlier words, with a shared breath, they stepped out into the sun, embracing a new dawn. Melissa recognized the challenges that lay before them but felt she was not alone. They would piece together their father's story and theirs, carving it into something beautiful rather than ugly, and as they entered the house, the air felt different, charged with possibility. No longer haunted by the past, they were ready to confront the shadows, one truth at a time. The strength of their family bond flickered like a candle, ready to light the way through the darkness. As they gathered in the living room, a sense of resolute calm washed over them. Every secret held the potential to bind them closer, a journey finally beginning. This was just the beginning, and as they shared their father's truth, they were forging a path toward a future full of hope, connection, and love that would withstand even the darkest revelations. Caught in that monumental moment of unity, Melissa whispered, "Let us honor his memory the way he would have wanted us to together." And with that commitment hanging in the air like a solemn vow, they took a step into their shared tomorrow, ready to face it hand in hand. Now, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Don't miss the chance to subscribe immediately to the channel for more exclusive stories that inspire transformations like this one. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending, and share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey of truth and connection. You need to take action now. Your support matters more than you know. Don't wait not even one more second to show your love for these stories.